I thought I was settling in for a regular game night, a cold beer and a quiet house while my wife enjoyed her girls' night at the stadium. Instead, my TV turned into a mirror and showed me exactly how stupid I'd been. My name's Ryan Miller. I'm 36, line supervisor at an auto parts plant in Ohio. Most days, my life is simple. Steel, noise, schedules, and guys who clock in, do their work, and go home tired. I always thought that was what I was building outside the plant too. Nothing glamorous, but steady, dependable. That night, I was parked on my worn-out brown couch, the one with the spring that bites your thigh if you sit wrong. TV on, sound up, one cold beer sweating on the coffee table. The house was quiet in that way I used to like. No dishes clanking, no hair dryer whining, just the low rumble of the pregame show. Emily was supposed to be at the game with work friends. She left around 6, laughing, dressed a little sharper than usual. Nice blouse, jeans that fit her right, hair in that high ponytail she knows works on me. I remember feeling oddly proud watching her walk out the door. 7 years married next month. We didn't have a fancy life, but it felt solid. Safe. I settled in, checked the time, and took a slow pull of beer. There's a comfort to routine. Same couch, same team, same channel. I remember thinking, yeah, this is all right. We're all right. The game kicked off, and for a while it was just that game stuff. Bad calls, close chances, me muttering at the TV like it can hear me. Then the other team scored and my chest tightened. When we finally pushed back and got that equalizer, the stadium exploded. You could hear it through the speakers, thousands of people roaring like one big animal. The broadcast cut from the field to the stands. Just quick crowd shots. Guys pumping fists, kids on their dad's shoulders, couples hugging. I wasn't even really watching the faces, just riding the noise. Then the camera moved again and froze. At first, I didn't know why my brain snagged on that frame. Just another crowd shot. Then my eyes focused. A woman on a man's shoulders. Blonde ponytail. Light blue blouse I'd watched Emily button up 2 hours earlier. The little silver hoops in her ears. The ones I got her last Christmas when money was tight, but I wanted her to have something nice. Her hands were on his head, fingers wrapped in his hair as she laughed and leaned forward like she belonged up there. The guy under her was wearing a red cap. I knew that cap. Jake's cap. My cousin. Same jawline, same stupid stubble pattern, the same team hoodie he wore to every game since we were teenagers. He was holding her legs like it was the most natural thing in the world. For a half second, my brain tried to save me. Lots of blonde women. Lots of blue blouses. Could be anyone. The camera's far. The lighting's weird. Maybe it's a look-alike. Maybe Jake just ended up in the same section. Maybe the girls from work are just off-frame. Then she threw her head back, laughing. I saw her profile clean, that little freckle near her jaw. The curve of her mouth I'd kissed 1,000 times. The beer in my hand went warm all at once. I leaned forward, squinting like getting closer to the TV would change it. My heart was thudding hard enough to make my fingers shake. I scanned for something, anything that would prove I was wrong. Same blouse, same earrings, same ponytail band she'd pulled from the kitchen drawer, same red cap Jake wore to our last family barbecue. My first thought wasn't even anger. It was no, that's not what this is. There has to be another explanation. Maybe the camera angle's off. Maybe the girls lost their seats and bumped into Jake. Maybe she climbed up for the shot as a joke. The broadcast cut away back to the game. The room felt smaller, quieter. The announcer kept talking, but his words turned to static. I stared at the dark TV frame, seeing that frozen image replay over and over behind my eyes. My wife on my cousin's shoulders, holding on to him like he was hers. That's when the cold feeling hit me. Not loud, not dramatic. Just a slow, sinking weight in my gut. Because if I was being honest, really honest, it didn't feel like something that just happened. Felt practiced. Easy. Like they'd done it before. And I had the ugly sense that whatever I'd been calling solid and safe might have been cracked for a long time. I just never bothered to look too close. When the camera cut back to the field, I just kept staring at the screen like it might rewind itself if I glared hard enough. Didn't. My thumb jabbed the remote anyway. hunting for a replay button that didn't exist on live TV. Come on, I muttered, hitting every useless option, the menu popping up and disappearing. Nothing. No rewind. No proof to freeze. Just that image burned behind my eyes. I checked the clock on the wall. 8:40 p.m. The game kept going. I wasn't watching anymore. I grabbed my phone and opened Instagram, then Facebook, then anything that might have a story, a tag, some stupid selfie from the game. I searched the stadium's location, scrolled through strangers' photos like I was panning for gold. Nothing. No Emily. No Jake. Just happy people who weren't watching their life crack open. My hands were shaking. Not from rage. Not yet. Just from not knowing. I stared at her profile picture for a second, that staged smile we'd taken on our last weekend trip, then hit the call. The line rang twice. Then noise. Crowd noise. The roar of the stadium poured through the speaker so loud I had to hold the phone away for a second. Hey! Emily's voice came in, breathless and bright. Hey, honey, is everything okay? If I hadn't seen what I'd seen, I might have smiled at how happy she sounded. I just saw you on TV, I said. My voice came out flat, dead steady. On Jake's shoulders. No work friends anywhere around you. There was a sharp little pause, like someone hit mute on her brain. The crowd was still screaming in the background. I could hear someone near her yelling about the game, but she didn't say a thing. For a second, I thought the call had dropped. I said. Her breathing changed. That easy, fake casual tone was gone. What came through now sounded tight. Panicked. I could picture her eyes wide, looking around, trying to think faster than truth. Then the line went silent. Not a word. Not a denial. Just click. Call ended. I stared at my phone for a beat, then hit redial. Straight to voicemail. Her chirpy recorded voice asked me to leave a message. I hung up and called again. Same thing. Again. Same. Bad reception doesn't send you to voicemail 3 times in a row in under a minute. Fear does. Guilt does. If she was innocent, she'd be blowing my phone up, asking what I meant, demanding to know what I thought I saw. She wouldn't be running. I thought about calling Jake. Thought about unleashing everything boiling in my chest right into his ear. Then I pictured them side by side, phones out, trading messages, syncing lies. I set my phone face down on the coffee table. No, they weren't going to get a head start. The rest of the night stretched out like wet concrete. I paced the living room, sat, stood, checked my phone, checked the clock, listened to the house breathe. The game ended. The TV went dark. The only light left was that cold blue glow from my screen every time I woke it up. No calls. No texts. By the time the front door finally opened hours later, I wasn't confused anymore. I wasn't looking for explanations. I was waiting for confirmation. She came in at 11:30 p.m. I was in the same spot on the couch, but the beer was gone, the TV off, the room lit only by the lamp in the corner. I didn't stand up. I just watched the door open. Emily stepped in like someone walking into a courtroom, not her own house. Her eyes were red and swollen, makeup smeared under them in faint black arcs. She closed the door softly, like volume might change anything, and set her purse down on the entryway table without looking at me. For a long stretch, nobody said a word. I could hear the clock ticking in the kitchen. Finally, she pulled in a shuddery breath. I'm sorry, Ryan. Her voice was small, broken. I ruined everything. I didn't rush in to comfort her. Didn't fill the silence. I just stared. Sit, I said. She sat on the edge of the armchair across from me, hands twisted together so tight her knuckles went white. She tried to meet my eyes, couldn't, and stared at the floor instead. How long? I asked. No preamble. No soft landing. Her jaw trembled. 3 months. The words landed like a blunt hit. Not one drunk mistake. A season. It started when? I kept my voice flat. She swallowed. That day you went out to get stuff for the barbecue. Jake stopped by early. We were just talking and he said he'd always thought I was special, that you didn't notice me the way you used to. She winced as she said it. We kissed. I should have stopped it. I didn't. I let that sit there, let her hear how ugly her own words sounded in the air. It wasn't just that day, I said. Not a question. She shook her head, eyes filling again. No, there were lunches, a couple of movies, some games. I told you I was with girls from work or staying late. Sometimes when he came over here, after you'd gone to bed, we'd text. We thought we were being careful. I leaned back, feeling myself trace old memories with new eyes. The extra makeup when she knew Jake was coming by. The way her laugh got louder around him. How she'd jump up to get him another beer like I was the guest in my own house. Little things I'd clocked and then tossed because who wants to admit their gut might be right? You let him in this house, I said quietly. You let him sit at my table. You smiled at me while he was circling you. Tears rolled down her face now, fast and messy. I know. I hate myself for it. He was just there, and I felt. Don't say we just connected. I cut in. Don't dress it up. She nodded, biting her lip, crying harder. Hearing my own wife confess to sneaking around with my cousin wasn't some dramatic movie breakdown. It was slower, heavier. A cold realization that this hadn't been a single wrong turn. It was a road she chose to walk, step after step. Jake wasn't just some guy. He was my best man, family, and she'd crossed every line with him, again and again, while I was out there thinking we were solid. Sitting there in that living room, listening to her choke out the story, I realized something simple and ugly. They hadn't just betrayed me. They'd been betting I'd never open my eyes. I thought we were done after that, though there was nothing left she could say that would surprise me. Then Emily wiped her face with the back of her hand, pulled in a shaky breath and said, "There's something else." My stomach tightened. I already knew those words never lead anywhere good. She looked up at me like a kid about to confess to breaking something expensive. "I'm pregnant," she whispered. 2 months. For a second, the room went quiet in a way that had nothing to do with sound. My ears were ringing. Pregnant. 2 months. It wasn't a word that landed as joy. Came in like a punch. We talked about kids. Not in some dreamy way, but in those practical late-night talks, when money might be right, how we'd handle schedules, what kind of parents we wanted to be. I pictured finding out together. Maybe a test on the bathroom counter. Her smiling through tears. Instead, I was getting it like this. After hearing she'd been sneaking around with my cousin, I stared at her, did the math in my head. 3 months of cheating, 2 months pregnant. "And you don't know whose it is," I said. Not a question, just the only line that made sense. Her face crumpled. She folded forward, elbows on her knees, hands covering her eyes as she broke all the way down. "I'm so sorry, Ryan," she sobbed. "I'm so sorry. Could be yours. Could be his. I didn't think." "No," I cut in. "You thought. You just didn't care enough." She cried harder, but I was somewhere else now, split down the middle. One part of me wanted to yell, throw something, drag her and her suitcase to the front door and be done. The other part just went quiet, numb, watching my own life tilt like a picture knocked off level. There was a child in this mess, a maybe child of mine, or Jake's. I looked at her, my wife, shaking and ruined by her own choices, and felt a hard line settle in my chest. "Get up," I said. She blinked at me, confused, wiping her face. "You're sleeping in the guest room," I told her. "I don't want you near me. Ryan, please, can we just—" "No," my voice stayed calm. "We'll deal with the rest later. Not tonight." She nodded, small and broken, and walked down the hall like a shadow, closing the guest room door behind her. I stayed on that couch all night, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of it all pressing down. This wasn't just a dirty secret or a broken promise anymore. There was a life attached to their betrayal now. One that might be mine or might belong to the man who shared my last name and stabbed me in the back. I didn't sleep, just watched the dark go gray, then pale, then morning. At 7 a.m., I got up, made coffee I didn't taste, and sat back down at the kitchen table with my phone. My hands weren't shaking anymore. Everything in me felt cold, clear. I found Jake's name and hit call. He answered on the second ring, voice too loud, too casual. Yo, Ree, what's up, man? You catch that game last and I. Come to the house, I said. Now. He hesitated. Everything okay? Did I sound like I'm asking? Silence. Then, all right, gimme 20 minutes. He showed up at 15. I watched him through the front window as he walked up the driveway. Red cap, hoodie, same old grin like this was any other morning. He opened the door without knocking, like he always did. Damn, man, you look like hell, he joked, stepping into the living room. Late night or what? Then he saw my face. The smile drained out of his slowly, like someone turned a valve. What's going on? He asked. I stayed standing. I didn't offer him a seat, didn't offer coffee, just looked him dead in the eye. I watched the game last night, I said. Adam's apple bobbed. Yeah? Crazy finish, right? I saw Emily. I went on your shoulders. No work friends. Just you and her looking real comfortable for the whole world to see. He froze, his mouth open like he had a script ready, then closed again. I'm going to say this once, I told him. You've got one shot to man up and tell me the truth. All of it. Right now. He licked his lips, eyes darting past me like he was hunting for an exit. Look, Ree, it's not what you think, all right? We were just. Wrong answer. The lie deflated him. His shoulders sagged. He dropped his gaze. Okay, he muttered. Okay, we messed up. It just. Don't say it just happened. I snapped. You don't trip and fall into my wife for 3 months. He winced, but he didn't deny it. That's how long? Pressed. Couple months, he mumbled. 3, maybe. I don't know, man, we just connected. You guys were fighting. She was upset we started talking, and I took a step closer. You stood next to me at my wedding. You called me your brother, and you went after my wife. He finally looked up, eyes shiny. I didn't mean for it to go this far. It went exactly as far as you both pushed it. We stood there in the middle of my living room, the same place he'd sat a dozen times, laughing, watching games with me. Only now it felt like I was staring at a stranger in my cousin's skin. There's more, I said. His forehead creased. More. Emily's pregnant. Color drained out of his face. What? 2 months, I said. And she doesn't know if it's mine or yours. He staggered back half a step like he'd been hit. Are you serious? Yes. He dragged a hand over his mouth, pacing a small circle like that might rearrange reality. Oh my God. Oh my Ryan, we're going to do a DNA test as soon as it's safe. I cut in. If it's mine, I'll step up as a father. You'll still be dead to me, but I'll handle my responsibility. If it's yours, I'm out. I'm not raising your kid. I'm not playing happy family to cover what you two did. He started to say my name like a plea. Ree. No, I pointed to the door. You don't get to say my name like we're good. You made your choice. He stopped talking. This is the last time you're in my house, I said. We'll do what we have to do for the test when the time comes. Until then, don't call me. Don't show up. Don't try to fix this. He stood there for a second, breathing hard, then nodded once, eyes wet, jaw tight. He turned and walked out without another word. The door closed behind him. Family or not, blood or not, I'd drawn the line. And I wasn't stepping over it for either of them. Once the DNA test nailed it, Jake's kid, not mine, things started sliding into place and falling apart at the same time. Emily and Jake tried to make a go of it. I heard about it through the family grapevine. Dinners together, her moving in with him for a few weeks, talk about doing the right thing for the baby. From the outside, it sounded like they were trying to turn a car wreck into a honeymoon. Didn't last. They weren't built on commitment. They were built on sneaking around and adrenaline. Once the secrecy was gone, all they had left was guilt and responsibility. I heard about the fights, her wanting more, him feeling trapped, both of them realizing real life doesn't feel like stolen moments in the back row of a theater. Meanwhile, word spread. Some of the family called me first, voices tight with anger on my behalf. We heard what he did. That's not right. We're with you. Others downplayed it like it was some stupid little mistake. These things happen. Marriage is hard. Family is family, you can't just cut him off. That last line always did it for me. I can actually, I'd say. And I did. Anyone who treated what they did like a minor slip didn't get a second phone call. I cut them out clean. I'd lost enough blood over other people's choices. I wasn't about to sit at a table with folks who thought betrayal was just a rough patch. Even Jake's own mother, my aunt, called me crying, saying she loved her son but she couldn't defend what he did. She stopped inviting him to big gatherings. He became a ghost at holidays, hanging off to the side. Shame stuck to him like a second skin. The divorce moved fast after the test. Emily didn't contest anything. No alimony, no fighting over furniture. She took what she'd brought in and some personal stuff. The house, the savings, the truck, they stayed with me. On paper, I came out ahead. But every time I walked through that house, all I saw were scenes I didn't want anymore. Laughter that wasn't real. Conversations that were half-truths. A life that, it turned out, had cracks running through the foundation. Winning the house didn't matter much when it stopped feeling like home. About 6 months after that game, my life looked smaller on the outside and bigger on the inside. I sold the house, took the hit, signed the papers, watched some young couple walk through my living room talking about paint colors like they weren't standing in a graveyard. I packed what mattered into a truck, clothes, tools, some furniture that didn't carry memories, and moved into a smaller apartment across town. New place, old job. Same plant, same line, same guys, but I started filling the off hours with things that had nothing to do with her. Working out again. Rebuilding an old engine in my buddy's garage. Grabbing beers after shifts with guys I'd blown off to play good husband at home. Routines changed. The quiet at night felt different. Not empty, just mine. One Saturday, late morning, I walked down to a cafe near my building. Nothing special. Just a place with decent coffee and a view of the street. I grabbed a cup, stepped outside, leaned against the brick wall, and watched people pass by. Couples, kids, strollers, regular weekend traffic. That's when I saw her. Across the street, coming out of a baby store, was Emily. She had 2 shopping bags in one hand and her other palm resting on her stomach like she was holding the kid from the outside. Her belly showed clearly under a light summer dress. No hiding it now. She looked softer, tired, older than the last time we'd been in the same room. For a second, everything went slow. She looked up, scanning the street, and our eyes met. Just a flicker, half a second, but long enough. I saw it all hit her at once. The surprise, the shame, the regret. Her face crumpled just a fraction, like she wanted to look away but couldn't. I waited for the wave in my chest. The rage, the hurt, the urge to cross the street and ask her one more time why. It didn't come. There was nothing. No fire. No spin out. Just a quiet, simple thought. That's not my life anymore. I held her gaze for a moment, then looked away, took a last sip of coffee, and tossed the cup in the trash. My feet just kept moving. I didn't speed up, didn't slow down, just walked past the corner and out of sight. Later, a mutual friend mentioned in passing that Emily and Jake hadn't worked out. Too much pressure, too much guilt, not enough real love to hold it together. She was in a small apartment now, raising the baby on her own. Jake sent child support, showed up sometimes, but most of the family wanted nothing to do with him. I listened, nodded, and went back to what I was doing. Their choices, their fallout, their kid, their mess. For the first time since that night on the couch, I realized I wasn't standing in the middle of it anymore. I was just outside, watching from a distance, and I liked it better there. I can trace my whole life splitting in 2 back to about 3 seconds of TV. Me on a beat-up couch. 1 beer, 1 game, 1 crowd shot. The camera swings over a stadium full of strangers and stops on the only 2 people it shouldn't have. That's it. No thunder. No warning. Just a clean slice between the life I thought I had and the one I was actually living. For a while, that killed me inside. I kept running the tape in my head. What if I'd gone to grab another beer? What if I'd checked my phone? What if I'd watched the game at the bar instead of at home? In half of those versions, I never see them. I stay blind. We keep trying for a baby. Jake is my brother. Emily keeps playing both sides. That kind of thinking is poison. Keeps you chained to a past you can't edit. One night, maybe 3 months after I saw Emily across the street with the baby bags, I caught myself doing it again. Lying in bed in my small apartment, staring at the ceiling, playing the old what-if game on repeat. I finally said out loud, "Shut up," to myself, like I was talking to some drunk idiot at a bar. It worked. I laughed at how stupid it sounded, then realized I meant it. Ignorance wouldn't have been peace. It would have just given them more time to disrespect me. More nights of me kissing a liar goodnight. More cookouts with Jake laughing in my face. The truth hurt like hell, yeah. But it was also the first honest thing in that whole situation. These days, my life is smaller, but it's real. I wake up in a place that doesn't lie to me. 2-bedroom, nothing fancy. One room's mine. The other's a rotating project space. Right now it's half storage, half workbench. Tools on the wall, an engine block sitting on a stand like a puzzle I actually want to solve. My mornings are simple. Coffee, quick workout, push-ups, pull-ups on the bar in the doorway, some dumbbells I picked up used. Shower, work. No tiptoeing around someone still mad from a fight they started. No wondering if my good mood is going to irritate the person who's supposed to love me. At the plant, I'm still the line supervisor. Same noise, same guys. The difference is what I bring home and what I leave there. Before, I carried stress back to Emily, being careful with every word so I didn't start something. Now I clock out, and the job actually stays at the gate most days. I started saying yes to things I used to blow off. Friday beers with the guys. Saturday fishing trips that start before sunrise. Helping a buddy remodel his garage. Stuff that sounds small but fills your days with things that don't ask you to pretend. Funny thing, I talk less now, but when I do, I mean it. I used to fill space with whatever would keep the peace. Now if I say, "I'm good," I mean I'm really good. Or I say, "I'm not." And that's fine too. There's one guy at work, name's Tyler, early 30s, brand new married. He cornered me in the break room one day after he heard the basics of my story. "Man, I don't know how you're so calm about it," he said. "If my wife did that, I'd lose my mind." I put my coffee down, looked at him. "No, you wouldn't. You'd think about it. You'd want to. But you'd still have to wake up, go to work, and decide who you're going to be on the other side." He frowned. "So what do you do if you ever trust someone again?" "You don't trust them," I said. "You trust yourself. You trust that if they ever show you who they are, you won't look away." He got quiet after that, but I saw it land. I'm not out searching for my soulmate. I go out sometimes. I talk to women. I've had a couple of dates. I'm honest up front. Divorced, no kids, not rushing into anything, not playing games. I don't overshare, but I don't hide either. One woman asked me, "Do you think you could ever really trust again?" I thought about it and said, "Yeah, but not the way I used to." Back then, trust meant I turned my brain off and hoped for the best. Now it means I'm willing to believe you until you give me a reason not to, and if you do, I'm gone. No second season. She laughed, but I wasn't joking. Emily and Jake are still out there somewhere, living with the fallout of what they did. I hear bits and pieces. She's raising the kid. He's paying support, weird at family stuff, always a little off to the side. That's about it. People sometimes ask if I forgive them. Here's the truth. I don't spend time on that word. I don't wake up angry. I don't lie in bed wishing bad things on them. I'm not carrying them around like a weight on my shoulders anymore. If that's what you want to call forgiveness, fine. But I'm not interested in rewriting what happened to make anyone feel better. They did what they did. I did what I had to. What I know for sure is this. That night on the couch was the worst kind of punch a man can take without someone actually swinging. And I'm still here, standing, breathing, building something new. Once you've been dragged through that kind of fire and you don't let it turn you into a victim, everything else looks different. Bills, bad days, work stress, traffic, all of it. It's just life. Not betrayal. Not war. I didn't choose what they did, but I chose what came after. I saw the truth. I didn't flinch. I walked straight through it and I didn't lose myself. That's my next chapter. And next time someone stands beside me, if someone does, they'll know one thing going in. I'd rather be alone and honest than partnered and lied to. If they can't handle that, they can keep walking. I've already survived the worst. The rest is just living.